All right, y'all, thanks for joining. TikTok is online, and yeah, now we have YouTube, Twitch, the whole gang is here. I'm going to throw on the TikTok green screen, which I forgot to do before starting. That green screen, it will give, if you're on TikTok, it will give you the location of my YouTube channel so that you can see the full screen, because TikTok is not going to allow you to see the full screen, right? Right. Looks like, nope, looks like I cannot do the green screen. Sorry, y'all. Thought it was in my photo reel, but I guess not. So let's cancel that green screen. All right, cool. Yeah, search my name on YouTube, and you will find it, or on Twitch. It's just John Vanderveer is my channel. All right, cool. So what are we doing today? Here is the punch list. So first thing I want to do is go over triage technique. So I've been in communication with my client. A lot of statements were made, but I'm keeping an eye out for the things that are high priority and segmenting those from the things which are kind of like still in thought process. I want to deprioritize requests that include verbiage such as I like or I think, but I'm still looking, I'm still debating, I'm still processing, I might change that, etc. We get our punch list only after reviewing items that are either by email with a hard requirement, or if we have a phone call or a Zoom call and we discuss with them, they're debating, they're processing, me, the consultant, going to engage that conversation and help solidify a hard requirement. Then we're building our punch list out of that. Even these, hate to break it to you, developers, even the hard requirements are still subject to change. So this list of 7 right here includes a couple items that were a hard requirement one way, and then another email, the requirement was flipped. So, we're trying to avoid requirement swirl and rework, but you're still going to get it. So one thing that I want to highlight is, as developers, we're accepting of requirement change and swirl. And so we don't talk about eliminating it, we talk about minimizing it. Okay, and so you might be confused, thinking that the way to minimize it is to only take a few of those requirements subject to swirl. No, the way you minimize it is you take no requirements that are subject to swirl, and then the ones that are not supposed to swirl still do a little bit. That's the way you minimize it. Okay, great. So what are we doing specifically? We're going to add the name on the top left part of the page. So here is what's deployed on Netlify, and you can see currently the nav is centered. We're going to float these links to the right, and we are going to add obviously a fictitious name, but it's going to be like a hyperlinked name on the top left, and that will be aligned to what this reference website, Refined Psychiatry, is doing. And it's actually also aligned to a second reference website, Cheryl Hendricks MD. So again, this is a professional psychiatry website that we're building. All right, so that's the first thing we're going to do, is tweak the header. Second thing is following the hero image, add a second smaller picture on the left or right. Actually, I decided this. So we're going to align it to the services page. So hero image being the first row. Hero image being this first row. And so the second row would be tan background. So image on the right. So image on the right. So let's clarify that requirement. Following the hero image, add a second smaller picture on the right with a brief summary about my practice to the side of the picture, right, and a link to the About page. So it's basically going to be a snippet that links over to the About page. Following that, a snippet that links over to the Services page. And following that will be the Contact section. then we're also going to improve the about page and the hero card. So this is the this sort of pink thing, peach. This is the hero card. I think it looks awful. We're going to refactor it to align it to Dr. Cheryl Hendricks' hero section, is what I'm calling it, this top row right here. Great. So let's dive in. Looking at an hour or two for today's stream, between 1 and 2 hours. So let's get coding. Crack open VS Code. Oh, that's Steam. Whoops. By the way, this is my new house, so I've moved homes. Looks like I should set up a ring light for some better lighting, huh? That's okay. Here is next Netlify Psychiatric, so this is the correct project already cracked open. LS succeeds. And yeah, so let's start with the easy stuff. Easy stuff is going to be changing the heading. So 2 ways I can do this. One is just change it. The other is create a conditional situation where if some object is provided, it will take this. Otherwise, it will default to the present centered look. And I think I want to go for the conditional situation. More customizable, more options, right? More useful website. That's the theory. So in the case of Refined Psychiatry, they are using like a logo, basically. Dr. Cheryl Hendricks is using text. It's a text link. So we're gonna go for that. I think the visual spacing here is off, so I'm not gonna exactly clone it. I'm basically gonna take the spacing of Refined Psychiatry, but use the text link approach. Okay, great. So this is our nav component, home, about, services, contact. Let's go find that. Control, Shift, F. I'm looking for the string home within an array. Nothing is found. Okay. So let's navigate our components manually. Here is the top nav.js. Okay. Oh, I hard coded these. I thought I would have done an array. Oops. Cool. So top nav, where are we using this? And then it's going to have props now. And one of the props will be practitioner name, or like text link practitioner, text link, let's say left text link. Yeah, so if there is a left text link, let's call it left link text and left link URL. And we're going to want both. So here is a single nav. Here's the top nav button. Top nav right region. Ooh, what is this? Oh, this is a different project. Okay. Yeah, so here's the top nav. Here's the page wrapper. Yeah, I think I want to treat this as a property. So let's do it like this, top nav. Well, we're not going to do it quite like that. We're going to treat this as a property. So this would be process.env.left link URL. Thank you for the likes. And this will be left link text. And so if they both exist, then I will construct a left link, and that's going to be under, there's not going to be a UL involved. This will be a div. So this is a non-semantic layout tool, and that's what we're going to be using it for. It's just going to help it float to the left. And within the div would just be an anchor. And yeah, this will be the left link text. We'll wrap this in the conditional. So they need to both, I want them to both exist and to have length. Here I will or, that way they don't error when I do this. So I'm just going to check the length. And if they happen to be null or undefined, it will cast it to an empty string and it will fail the length check. So if the text variable has length and if the left link URL variable has length, then we will include this div. Otherwise, it will simply not appear. Here is the left link text. And this is going to take us to the home page. So I don't actually want to use an anchor. Well, why not? I don't think it hurts anything. Yeah, so we don't need the link URL. It's just going to take us to the home page. Yeah. Cool. So what I should see when I look at the web page, it should remain completely unchanged because I'm not passing that property currently. Oh, I need to actually start my my local server. I forget what my command is. Is it just npm start? I haven't been working on this website in a while. So let's look at our package JSON. What do we have available? It's run dev. npm run dev. Should I learn JavaScript a bit more or just go straight into React after learning the basics? That's an excellent question. So my recommendation here is that you should learn React after you have learned the JavaScript DOM API. So basically React, one of the core value propositions of React is that it supplants the JavaScript DOM API. And if you've done that in vanilla, it should have been rather verbose and painful, basically. In particular, if you've had to not only create elements, but create, read, update, and delete, that will have been extremely painful. And so at that point, you can learn React and go, oh wow, React is valuable. I want you to learn React in such a way that it appears valuable to you. I don't want you to learn it in such a way that it appears to be a burdensome tool. Because that probably means you're using it in the wrong situation, right? DOM manipulation and fetch API is a pain in vanilla. Well, those are two rather different things. When you learn React, you're going to still be using fetch. There are, fetch has some pain points, but it's hard to find a better way to do things. There's not a lot of better ways to do it, even though it's not super easy. Doesn't React use Axios? No. You can use Axios with React, but I would not recommend it. Also, you totally don't have to. Is a CSE degree better than CS? No. And that's not to say that it's worse. It's just that I have not found evidence, decent research that it's any better. Okay, great. I also haven't seen any research that it's worse. But if you have some research, send it to me. I'd love to see it. Okay, back to the codes, right? So yeah, so localhost 3000. So here we are. So here is the, oh great, we have the 0 bug. How did I end up with a 0 bug? This should have been stringified. So the 0 bug happens when you do the short circuiting operation that I did, and someone has placed a 0 as the value. So it appears as like, look, I'll show you. Left length. So left length, let's console.log this. Left length URL. So it appears like one of these variables is getting a zero value populated, which totally should not happen. Left link URL is not defined. Left link URL. So like, why didn't you throw a compile error the first time? So that's kind of interesting. I wonder if it's erroring process with a 0 error code, and that's being actually used right here. Anyway, let's do this, this. The 0 is still here. Clearing this, refreshing my page. The 0 is still there. Let me comment this block. And the 0 goes away. So definitely this is the root cause, because I'm a total idiot, because length is the integer. Hello. Is this client work? Yes, it is. What are you coding? A psychiatric website for like a professional psychologist or psychiatrist. Sorry, I'm a noob. Your degree does not matter in IT in the EU at least. It's a bit of a rough statement. Depending on what you mean, that could be right or wrong. Definitely the degree adds value. Definitely a CS degree is higher value than a, say, a business degree. That being said, none of those are like required, but they do have like measurable impacts on your job search and on your pay and so forth. Are you a freelancer? No. Well, you know, I laughed about that. I occasionally do freelance work on the side, but like, it's like on the side. It's not my main thing. Do you use any front-end framework like Tailwind or Bootstrap? Yeah. So in this, I don't know if I'm doing that in this project. Yeah, so I'm keeping this project really thin and light, and so I'm not using a framework here. But I routinely go for material. It's kind of my favorite. What folder structure do you suggest for a React project? This is what I go for. So this is a Next.js project. Next.js is a framework on top of React. Next.js has some of its own opinions, including opinions to do with folder structure. So pages is a Next.js concept. That being said, even when I'm doing a like create React app or non-Next React application, I still adopt the Next approach, and I carve out a pages folder. I like a page-oriented architecture, even if it's just page components, so that they're not like true pages. I still follow this pattern. Styles, I'm not actually a big fan of this. It just came with it. I like to have my styles embedded in the component folder. Components, I love having a components folder. This is messy. This is like almost too messy to where I need to clean it up. When I do clean it up, I will pair them in their own folder. So footer.js, footer CSS will go within a footer folder. I haven't done that because this project has been sort of like small, but it's starting to grow, so we'll see if I pivot. Next.js is server-side rendering, right? It is a variable mode rendering framework. So you can render, you can do static generation, which is what I'm doing. You can do server-side rendering at runtime. And you can also do client-side rendering with Next.js. That's kind of complicated because it will still be server-side rendering, but certain components will render on the client, basically. I'm doing static generation, SSG. All right, cool. Good questions. Thank you for all the engagement. Oh, 130 viewers. Wow, I'm super stoked about that. So let's get some coding in. The length here is the issue. So what I want to do is just compare not equal to 0. Let's do that. Cool. Now I'll drop this. Really, I don't think it's worth altering this to use the brace notation when it's only a single parameter right here. So I'm gonna do one of these. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna duplicate that line. Okay, so we'll leave it like this. What's the best software for web development? You know, that's a hard question. It depends on what you're doing. I can tell you my go-to library is React. There are cases where it's not ideal though. So I like to talk about like informed defaults rather than you know, like this tool or that tool is best. More like kind of what's your default tool and under what cases would you swap that out for what other thing. Okay, so let's go look at our .env file, if I even have one. I think I don't even have one here. Components, netlify toml. Maybe I can use the netlify toml. Hey John, what are you working on? Long time since I joined. What's up, So Damn Insane? I'm working on a psychiatrist's website, a professional psychiatrist's website. Like, I want to make a marketplace website. Where do I start? Yeah, that's rough too. Making a marketplace is like not a simple task. I would still go for Next.js. I would go for Vercel with the BigCommerce. Is probably where I would default, but there's like a lot of reasons that you wouldn't want to do that. Okay. Cool, so netlify toml file, plugins, context production, context deploy preview. All right, so these are all, cool, so these are all environment variables. Interesting. Okay, so let's try it like this. I'm not 100% sure it's going to work. Context branch deploy environment. Is there such a thing as like a context any? Guess and check. Guess and check is the way. So I'll throw it in as a build variable, and this will be left link text, and I will say, you know, Patricia. LaFont. How long did it take to learn React and JavaScript for your job? I learned React in, I don't know, like 2 to 4 months, something like that. Basics anyway. All right, so what have we done? What we have done is we created this left link text thing. Maybe I need to restart my server. Let's see. Cool, so it's still populating as an empty string, so let me restart the server. Are you a full stack engineer? Yes. 1.3K likes, that's awesome. Hey, check me out on YouTube or Twitch to see the full screen. You'll be able to see things a lot better. Thanks for joining, everyone. Yeah, you can just search my name on YouTube or Twitch. Okay, so this is not being populated. So this environment variable approach is not working. How about a deploy context? Certain keys, build and plugins, but not redirects, allow you to set context properties. any property in these will override less specific contexts. Site settings, build and deploy, continuous deployments, branches. Okay. Would this be considered my production? Let's see. I want to do production and non-production. All right, let's try context.production, I suppose. Cool. Any project ideas to build for an internship? Yeah, there's a few. One is a blog. Add your own original thoughts, things that you have learned. Another is a portfolio site. If you build a portfolio site, make sure that you have 2 other interesting sites on it. You don't want a portfolio that just points to one thing. And then the third would be something like a passion project, something interesting to you. Something that shows off your hobbies. You could do something that incorporates an API. You could do something that relates to a current event. So for example, I did a CSS turkey as part of vanilla flat white. Right, so I did this like CSS turkey. And, yeah, you can't hear it, but if you click these, it makes a gobbling sound. And you can change the colors of the tail feathers. Cool. So this context.production did not appear to work. Let's do netlify environment variables React. Okay, see, these are being set on netlify.com. Which is only going to work at deployment time. Oh, context.production.environment. Maybe that's what I need to do. Extra setting environment variables in .env. Yeah, that's what I'd prefer to do. So can I just create an env file? Env files are like the quote-unquote normal way to do this kind of thing. So not really using netlify. And I'm actually here for that. Whoa, party foul. Okay, so let's try it like this. Trash this terminal. On Windows, the terminals stick. It's a whole problem. working on? Anything new and exciting, or just your basic web shit? 100% basic web shit over here. This is an open source theme for a professional psychiatrist. Left link text is still an empty string. But over here I'm seeing left link text Patricia LaFont. So over here it's being populated. Where's the disconnect? I'm seeing it on the server, and maybe I just need to refresh one more time, huh? That's super interesting. I'm not seeing it on the client. Yeah, okay, it's not passing it to the client somehow. Install react.env npm package. Maybe that's what I need to do. Oh, you have a nullify account, yeah. Let's read a little bit further before I install it. I think the answer is that I need to install this. This is for building. It just kind of, it doesn't really explain it. It just kind of says use this package. I need to be careful not to follow oh, 1 second. I think I'm getting a I need to check my front door real quick. Be right back. Okay, I got some desserts delivered. All right, all right. Yeah, I got some desserts delivered. Yeah, so I need to be careful not to just blindly use things that are being used with React scripts, because that would be a create React app. I'm not using create React app, I'm using Next.js. Next environment variables. Let's try and do this the next way. Process.env. Okay, so this seems to be using .env.local as the file name. So we can switch that over. Process.env, that is what we're using, right? Process.env. All right, cool. Let's rename the env file to be env.local. See if that makes a difference. Wait, go back. I didn't see if you're calling the environment variables. Right here. process.env is a way to call the environment variables. Looks like the server is still aware. That's great. Now let's see if the UI render populates the variable as expected. F5, and I'm still not seeing it. Empty cache and hard reload. No go, no go. So this is next dev. Any good books or courses you recommend? Yeah, I like the Codecademy front end path. Next.js will automatically expand variables var inside of your env. This allows you to reference other secrets like so. Here we go. Exposing environment variables to the browser. Next public prefix. All right, that's what we're missing. Always a security concern, isn't it? Okay, so next public left link text. Let's save it right there. Trash this terminal. Okay, open a new terminal. We'll rename it from left link text to next public left link text npm run dev. Next netlify psychiatric. Cool. F5. And it's booting up. It's taking it a second. There it is. So now we have it. You see Patricia LaFont appears on the left. We still need to style it, but that was the whole intent, basically. Now I want to see if I can do this with a .env file instead of a .env.local. And I'm going to also make a .env.template. That has the same variable there. This is like typical because you will check in .env.template, but you will not check in .env. Great, and now that I've gone through all of that, I can see here that the next config.js has Google Maps API key in it. Cool, and I totally just showed you all my keys, so now I gotta make a new key. Dessert?
Oh, you grabbed it already?
Yeah. Cool, so let me delete both of these files and use the next config. Okay. Cool. So that should be good to go. Now let's work on the styling a bit. Here we can see there's like an alignment issue. Oh, let me also make sure I'm watching my stream chat. Sorry about that, y'all. Hello, is it a practice project? No, this is not a practice project. In your notepad is these, I don't know what to call structure. I guess that giving to you, or you should write it before starting the project. I think we're referring to this notepad right here. And the question is, is this given to me? No, well, kind of. So I wrote this list based on my interpretation of emails with my client. My client did not literally email me this stuff. We talked about some other stuff, and I translated this into a list of like to-do items for myself. Okay. So that was fun. Now we have Patricia Lafont over there. And yeah, we can see it's basically creating a row of a div, which I don't want. So let me edit as HTML. I will delete the div, leaving only the anchor. I have a similar issue, but that's okay. Now I will float left. Okay, so floating works. Ideally, I don't use float though. I want to try and do this the flex way. So I'll say display inline flex. And let's go over to the UL and make this also an inline flex. So it's already a flex. Let's make it an inline flex. Cool, so that fixed the vertical alignment. What if I just made it flex? It would not look good. And what if I made this one flex though too? It would not look good. So inline flex seems like the way to go. Inline flex. Test one more thing before I sort of like decide on that. Inline flex. The other thing I want to test is what if I drop the anchor and this is floating to the left, which is not what I want. I want it to be, I want it to float in the center. So let's say align self, center. Let's say justify, self, center, margin, auto. None of these are working because it's an inline flex. Text, align, center. Yeah, so those, and then there's like no, yeah, this is a bad idea. We want to go good old flex. What's up with this nav here? The height says 10 VH, but it looks like this tiny line. I don't know, that's weird. Okay, cool. So I want my nav to be flex unless this thing is appearing, then I want it to be inline flex. All right, cool. So there's display inline flex, and then here on the UL, I'm going to conditionally style it. Cool, so now I can do has, go like this instead, has left link. So if it has a left link, we'll show this. And then has left link here. What am I doing in my top nav module CSS? There's top nav UL. Styling it as flex, I think that's fine. And then this will conditionally override it. Let's conditionally give it a class. That's a little bit better. So yeah. Oops. I might not need to write this rule. Are you doing the back end of this site with React or what? So this is using Next.js. Let's see. I'm trying to do this So technically the backend would be done in Node. I'm trying to do this as a Jamstack architecture, so I won't actually be using server-side code except during render time only. Okay. Inline flex is an atomic style, so I can put that in a global file. Let's actually comment this. I probably will not, or like, I don't know about probably, but I hopefully will not need to end up using that. Let's go to our global styles, globals. Inline flex class does not already exist. We are going to build it. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. And this will just be display inline flex. That's it. Cool. So here we do like class name. So if it has a left link, we're going to make it inline flex. Otherwise, leave it blank. Have you coded anything for quantitative trading? Nope, not a trader. I am not a trader. Cool. So here we see that the inline flex class is showing up. It's showing up as expected. I can also like remove it. We'll test that in a moment. Let me just proceed as if it's working for now. So it has the inline flex class, but the style is being overridden. The style is being overridden. Okay, so the global is not good enough. I'll go ahead and leave the global, but it's not good enough. So I'm going to uncomment this. The specificity on top nav UL is higher. That's why it's being overridden. And now I'll refresh the page. And now the computed style is still flex. It's still flex. Let's see. Right. So I need to do the name differently here. Styles.topNav. Here I need to do styles.inlineFlex. Let's actually get rid of this global style. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt anything, but we're not using it. And then here we'll need to change this to be more compatible with CSS and JS, so using camel case. What is your professional and academic background? So I'm a software engineer. I've been programming for about 10 years. I've worked at companies like Google. I'm currently at Upstart. My academic background, I have a PhD in economics, where I studied the return to alternative credentials, post-secondary credentials specifically, for example, coding boot camps. Okay, and now we can see that they are inline. Now that they're in line, I would like this to float to the right, and the other is already on the left in the appropriate position. Cool. Let's just do this margin left auto. Nope. Margin right auto. Nope, didn't work. Okay. Oh, this needs to be display block. Display inline flex. Yeah. Okay. So the fact that it's inline means that it has no height from the point of view of the rendering engine, which is problematic, basically. So I want them to be inline, but I also want them to both have height. So the proper display would be inline block, not inline flex. However, if I make them both inline block, they won't be able to line up by default, but what I can do is I can make the wrapper a flex. And cool, so this is inline block, and this is now inline block, and this is flex. No, that's not working. What if it's just block? It's coming out with no height. Let's see, let me refresh, something goofy is going on. Front end dev, nope, I'm a full stack developer, although this is like mostly front end work. How much time does a site take to build on average? Depends on the kind of site, but I guess most sites are not very complex. So this, if I was working on it full time, would take me like a week or two, but I'm not working on it full time. Okay, so we can see that they are in line. This is great, great news. But the margin, like the spacing, is not working. Here, let me try to do it like this. That's so interesting. If I give it margin, it changes the top offset, the vertical offset. Okay, so I'm just going to try to make these inline block. Okay. And now let's try to adjust the margin. None of these working. Now let's try a regular block. And I clicked something. Sorry about that. It's funny, it doesn't matter if you're a senior or beginner. Web dev just hurts the brain. I guess. I mean, CSS is no fun. That's for sure. Okay, so we're changing it to block. And trying the nav to be a flex. Yeah, so now they're in line. Okay, then this one, we want it to float right, basically. So that seems to be good. Oh, it's because of the padding. Is it? Margin. it's like vertical margin maybe. Okay, so clockwise 0, 0, 0. Yeah. Okay, so it's the vertical margin that was causing that issue. So this kind of seems good. But it is the width that is causing the interior elements to float left. Row reverse could be an interesting thing to use here. What are you trying to do with them? Basically get them to float right, but I don't want to use the float keyword. So you are building themes for people to use, right? Yeah. That's right. There we go. All right, so I need to specify a width. Are these WordPress themes? No. Cool. So let's see. I think I'll use auto or fit content. Let me try auto for now, with auto. So I'm specifying the width as auto. And then what I want to do is give some margin to these ULs. Margin 0, 1 rem. Let's say 1 rem. Yeah. And I think that looks pretty good. Why not WordPress? Not do this in WordPress, just wondering. Maybe try justify content flex end, then give each a little padding or margin. So the UL itself is block. So let's try it. I don't think the justify content thing is going to work here. I did give them some margin, so let's leave that. Yeah, so I used margin 000 auto. So let's say justify content end. Yeah, it just doesn't work, right? Because this is not a, the UL is not flex right now. All right, so there's the margin 000 auto. Can remove the height on this stuff and it still works. If I remove the display block, it still works. Yeah, crazy. Crazy. Cool, so I'm going to rename this class. This class is no longer accurate. Instead of inline flex, it's going to be called UL float right. UL.float right. Over here, it'll be conditionally float right. I can get rid of, it appears, I can get rid of that inline style for inline flex. And then float right, let's add some style rules. Oh, we just nuked everything, that's fine. One is going to be the margin 000 auto. Wow, okay, so really that's the only thing we need, it seems. Which is pretty clean. Basically, we end up needing margin 000 auto. Let me refresh the page and see if that's all there is to it. Yeah, so the nav floats over to the right if we do that. Here on the left, there's a bit of an alignment issue. So you can see, let's inspect. I think it's kind of okay because this hero is going to end up getting adjusted. But I do want the far left and the far right, to be even. Oh, there's a vertical offset issue too. So let's make it display block. Oh no, let's not edit this element's display. Let's element the wrapper. Let's edit the wrapper to be display flex. Yeah, and that fixes it. So the top nav. What if I boom, get rid of this and get rid of this, and it's still okay. Doesn't hurt anything. It doesn't hurt anything that the wrapper is flex, even in the case that there's no left text. So top nav will just always be display flex. Cool. Do people get obsolete after they are over 35? No, they don't. Are you writing HTML or CSS? So these are CSS rules. This is React, which has a HTML-like syntax, but it's not HTML. But it does generate HTML. So kind of both. Kind of both. Cool. So the floating right is working, the vertical alignment looks good, but there's an asymmetry between the spacing of these elements that I don't like. Yeah, I think I know why. So these LIs are having left and right margin, I believe. And we should make the margin only on one side to fix the problem. You want me to come up there? All right. So we're saying space evenly, and let's change that to, yeah, flex end. Yeah, let's change it to flex end, like the good viewer recommended. Okay, so flex end not on the LIs but on the UL. This will be conditional. What is it? Flex. It's not flex direction. Oh, justify content. All right, and so this squishes them, which we don't want, but then we add a bit of margin. Problem solved. So margin left, 1 rem. Right, I don't want it on just one of you. I want it on the class of you. So that's good. It seems like 1 rem is more than we want, though. Oh, that was margin auto. Whoops. Margin left, 1 rem. Okay. Even 2 rem seems good. Margin left, 2 rem. ULLI, so we'll make another one of these. Boop, boop, boop. And this is when float right is applied. How much time do you spend learning new tech on average? A few hours a week. Maybe more than that. I'd say 8 hours a week. Let's go for that. All right, cool. So this is looking pretty good, and it's now symmetrical. I kind of want to increase the gutters so that they line up with the hero card. Even though we're going to refactor the hero card, it will still ultimately line up with the general gutters on the page, including the map of the United States towards the bottom. So that gutter size, let's go double check. What is that? It's 8%. And you know what? Maybe I just don't want the gutters. Are we using them on services? Let's inspect over here. That is a 2 rem padding. And then a 1 rem padding within that. So it's a few, so we're not using gutters here either, we're using multi-rem padding. So let's drop the gutters. Let's drop the gutters. Control Shift F, 92%. Only one location it's used. Boom, nuke it. Nuke that 92%. And we've got no gutters. Now, do I want to bring in that stuff anyway? Maybe. Let's take a look over here. Refine is right up. They're pretty much doing what I'm doing, aren't they? I do like their font style more. Let's inspect this. It seems like I have more padding at the top than like underneath, which is weird. so there's that's a little better, isn't it? So instead of height, it should be a min height. And then we can come over here. So the height is getting squeezed, basically. Cool. Yeah, I think that is better. So this be a min height. Let's cut it. No? Something weird is going on. Cool. That's too little. 2, 2, 2. Cool. Min height 8VH. So that's a min height instead of a height. And we're going to make it 8. We're going to come over here and make the room 2. And this is just going to give it a thinner nav, basically. And why do I want a thinner nav? I think it looks better. I think that thick nav was too much. And then I'm aligning more to the style right here of this refined psychiatry, which I really like. Not so much aligned to this one, but I don't like the way the nav looks on this one. So I'm okay with that. Cool. So this is how things are looking now, and I think it's better. Why did you left your job? My previous role? So my previous role at Amazon, I left because I was cut. So I was working as a contractor, and the organization cut all contractors. Yeah, I think this is a really good pausing point. Obviously, we didn't get everything that I wanted done. Here, I can knock out the about psychiatry as well. Wonder why. Oh, yeah, I always forget my search on this Windows machine never really works. Cool, so let's close all this, and I'll control P about section. Here's the about section. And I think we're just going to drop this if we're able. Is that going to break the render? Nope, it doesn't break it. What we do want to do is yeah, I guess that's fine. Even though this is called the content right, it floats to the left. For my own sanity, let me just delete the right and then populate this in the left side. And yeah, we want the text on the left and the picture on the right. That will reflect this website, and it's also the way the eye moves. We want to highlight the information first. You should open your windows and breathe fresh air. We hear when you breathe heavily. Okay. All right, y'all. Well, I am logging off for the evening, and thanks for tuning in.